Welcome, distinguished viewers, to our very dark journey through ancient justice and the hidden truth. We so often fear the drawing of swords and the crushing weight of armies marching across the earth. But history proves that the deadliest weapon ever forged does not require a single drop of steel. It is invisible, shapeless, and able to destroy a human life in a matter of seconds. Today, we uncover the chilling power of the 9th Commandment, the devastating false witness. In the very beginning, there was an absolute power in telling the truth before a sacred judge. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. This was the ultimate law of the ancient world. Picture a massive, ancient stone courtroom where the shadows stretch long and the air feels incredibly heavy. In those ancient times, there were no hidden security cameras to record a violent crime. There was absolutely no genetic testing to definitively prove a person's innocence. A human life relied entirely on the fragile words spoken from the mouth of a single witness. The sacred oath taken before the altar was the only barrier separating life from sudden death. Imagine the sheer terror of standing before a silent judge as someone slowly points a finger. The poor victim stands completely helpless against the crushing weight of a fully fabricated lie. When a malicious person steps onto the podium and delivers a carefully constructed falsehood, they're not merely committing a simple error in human communication or a minor mistake. They are deliberately using the divine system of justice to guarantee a tragic final ruin. According to ancient records, a whispered lie possessed the terrifying power to destroy families. A single false accusation could mercilessly strip a grieving widow of her remaining coin. It could violently throw an innocent man into a dark, suffocating dungeon for his entire life. Or even worse, it could drag a completely blameless individual directly to their tragic doom. This invisible violence leaves no physical fingerprints, yet the destruction it causes is absolute. Jesus Christ profoundly warned all humanity about the extremely dark origins of such deception. He openly declared that the devil is not only a liar, but the very father of all vicious lies. To bear false witness is to align your soul with the ultimate enemy of human salvation. Each fabricated word is a poisoned arrow shot directly into an innocent victim's heart. Ancient judges sat high above, relying deeply on the fragile integrity of sworn, spoken oaths. But what happens when the very foundation of truth is corrupted by overwhelming hatred and blind greed? The courtroom transforms from a sacred sanctuary of divine justice into an arena of silent ruin. If you were falsely accused without any physical proof, how would you defend your innocent life today? Fast forward to our modern era, where the ancient courtroom has expanded far beyond those cold stone walls. Today, the terrifying tribunal does not just sit inside a heavily guarded government building. The podium of judgment now rests right upon the rapidly typing fingertips of every person. A devastating fake rumor can be launched into the digital atmosphere with just one thoughtless click. A perfectly manipulated photograph or a malicious story easily bypasses any form of defense. These digital lies spread across the globe with a terrifying speed that is far faster than any plague. The whispering mob no longer gathers deeply in the shadowy corners of the ancient market square. They hide behind glowing screens, completely blinded by a terrifying sense of absolute safety. A victim's entire life is incinerated long before the real truth can even put its shoes on. When you blindly share a shocking post without verifying it, are you throwing a stone at an innocent soul? The false witness has deeply plunged their hands into the absolute darkest magic known to humanity: words. Words were originally designed to bring divine order, but the liar twists them into chaotic weapons. With every deceitful keystroke, they construct a horrific virtual prison for someone who did nothing. The mental pain caused by vicious character assassination is often much worse than a physical wound. The courtroom dissolved into a massive global arena of relentless, cruel public humiliation. Yet, amidst this storm of deceit, the ancient scriptures deliver a thunderous, unyielding final verdict. The supreme creator of the universe is recognized as the absolute embodiment of pure truth. He spoke the cosmos into existence. His words are the exact foundation of physical reality. Therefore, the person who maliciously distorts the truth does not merely harm their innocent neighbor. They are launching a direct and arrogant rebellion against the sacred order of the universe. By weaponizing deception, the liar effectively cuts themselves off from the divine source of all life. The agonizing punishment for the false witness is not always immediate or visible to the eye. Instead, it is a slow, agonizing self-destruction that rots the soul from the absolute deepest core. The fiery tongue of the relentless slanderer will ultimately turn inward and consume its own master. Imagine the sheer horror of discovering that your own poisonous words have built your eternal cage. You become trapped in a dark labyrinth of your own deceit, forever separated from the blinding light. The innocent victim may suffer terribly in this temporary world under the heavy weight of lies. But their tears are carefully counted, and their ultimate vindication is guaranteed by heaven itself. As history records, those who maliciously weaponize lies will eventually drown in their toxic sea. The truth is an unstoppable force of nature that will inevitably shatter every false illusion. Look back at the tragic trials of countless martyrs whose lives were extinguished by fabricated words. Saint Stephen, the very first Christian martyr, met a devastating fate due to a viciously false claim. Corrupt leaders deliberately bribed deceitful men to publicly speak completely fabricated lies. They utilized the sacred commandment of the law to commit an unforgivable act of absolute fatal ruin. The great philosopher Socrates drank the lethal poison because of deeply malicious false witnesses. His profound quest for ultimate truth was violently silenced by a coordinated campaign of bitter lies. This is the devastating dialectic of history, the eternal war between the light and the dark. The liar truly believes they are controlling reality, shaping the narrative with absolute power. But they fail to realize that reality itself is deeply anchored in the unshakable mind of God. You cannot simply break the 9th Commandment. The sacred commandment ultimately breaks you in the end. Think of the deep psychological toll on the person who continually spreads destructive, wicked lies. They must constantly maintain a complex web of deceit, living in absolute terror of the blinding truth. Their mind becomes a paranoid battlefield, devoid of any genuine peace or lasting spiritual rest. This is the profound divine justice of the universe. The penalty for deception is becoming the lie. You lose your authentic self, entirely consumed by the shadows you maliciously cast on others. Let us return our gaze to the ancient monolithic courtroom, where the falsely accused victim softly weeps. Though their earthly possessions may be ruthlessly stripped away by the calculated cruelty of the liar, their spirit remains completely untouched, eternally protected by the ultimate author of truth. The ancient texts continually emphasize that God has a profoundly special love for the deeply oppressed. He stands as the eternal advocate for those who cannot defend themselves against vicious verbal assaults. Every single tear shed in the darkness of a lonely dungeon is meticulously recorded in heaven. The final judgment will not rely on the highly flawed testimonies of easily corrupted mortal men. It will be based entirely on the piercing, all-knowing light of God, exposing every hidden secret. In that terrifying moment of absolute clarity, the false witness will face final divine justice. The very words they use to devastate the innocent will become the heavy chains that drag them to darkness. This eternal law transcends the ancient world and strikes directly at the heart of our modern society. We must always treat our spoken words with the exact same reverence and caution as a loaded, deadly weapon. Before typing a devastating comment or sharing a rumor, remember the ancient monolithic courtroom. You are stepping onto the sacred podium of judgment, holding the fragile life of a person in your hands. Will you be an honorable defender of the blinding truth, or a cowardly destroyer hiding in the shadows? The choice is entirely yours, but the eternal consequences of your actions will be judged by the Almighty. The 9th Commandment forces us to look deeply into the mirror and recognize the power of our own voice. It demands absolute integrity in a completely broken world that constantly feeds on malicious scandal. For every time we bravely choose the truth, we bring a small piece of divine order into this chaotic darkness. And every single time we lie, we invite the terrifying forces of destruction to completely consume our world. The first 9 commandments profoundly judge our outward physical actions and the specific words we speak. But the 10th commandment completely shatters every single established rule of the ancient sacred law. It condemns something that is entirely invisible, hiding deep within the darkness of your own mind. What is the true, hidden root of every single violent crime ever committed in human history? Find out the truly shocking answer in episode 20, where we expose the deadliest seed of all human evil. Before we uncover that mystery, we must now witness the final conclusion of the deceitful liar. The ancient courtroom does not simply vanish when the physical trial officially comes to an end. It fundamentally transforms into an eternal tribunal where every single word is weighed. Those heavy stone walls are replaced by the blinding, inescapable light of divine truth and absolute justice. We must deeply analyze the psychological collapse of the one who fabricates pure deception. A malicious lie requires massive mental energy to sustain its unnatural and dark form. The false witness must remember every fabricated detail, living in constant, terrible fear. They become completely isolated, trapped in a dark, suffocating prison of their own making. When the holy truth inevitably emerges, the dark illusion violently shatters to dust. The public exposure of a cruel falsehood destroys the deceiver's reputation forever. Ancient history proves that those who use words to destroy others are eventually destroyed by the truth. The victim, though previously broken, is ultimately restored to a wonderful place of deep honor. Perfect divine justice ensures that no innocent tear shed in the darkness will ever be forgotten. So we must radically and completely change how we behave in the modern digital arena today. Your keyboard is a very lethal weapon. Your screen is the sacred podium of the ancient stone courtroom. Every time you bravely choose to type the honest truth, you directly defy the dark father of lies. You become a courageous defender of the innocent, shielding them from deadly poisoned arrows. Let the sacred 9th Commandment strictly govern your tongue, your typing fingers, and your entire heart. The universe is structurally built on absolute truth, and no human deceit can ever change it. As we prepare to face the truly terrifying 10th Commandment, we must purify our spoken words. Because the final law will violently judge the hidden desires breeding within our captive souls. It will brutally expose the invisible roots of dark greed that lead a person to bear false witness. The ultimate battle between the light of truth and the shadow of deception is fought in your own mind. Are you truly ready to look deeply into the absolute darkest corners of your hidden desires? Prepare yourself for the ultimate revelation that completely shatters every human nature. We will finally expose the exact origin of every single crime committed on Earth. The climax of our incredible journey through the ancient sacred laws arrives in the next episode. The sacred 9th Commandment reminds us that words hold the power of absolute life and bitter death. Do you believe a false rumor today is more dangerous than an ancient sword? Tell us down below. If you value the truth, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more epic history.